I'm Andrea Giles, and you're listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, episode number 65, Why We Are Afraid to Want.
Hello, and welcome to the Heal from Infidelity podcast, where courageous women learn not only to heal from their spouse's betrayal, but to become the boldest, truest, most decisive, and confident versions of themselves ever. If you know there's more for you than the life you're currently living, but don't quite know how to get there, you are in the right place. Stick around to learn how to create a life that will knock your own socks off. Is it possible? It is, and I'm here to show you how. I'm your host, Andrea Giles. Are you ready? Let's dive in.
Hi, everybody. Okay, so you might notice right out the gate that my sound is a little different than it usually is. That is because I am not home. I'm traveling and I'm recording from AirPods. I am at an event for coaches. It's been amazing, and I have learned so much and always love being around my fellow coaches, but I also love getting this podcast out to you. And so I'm stepping away and getting this recorded and doing it in a little bit different than I usually do. So I hope that the sound is okay for you to listen and learn, and I'm going to dive in. Okay, so today we are going to talk about being afraid to want. Okay, so I work with a lot of people, and I can't tell you how many times I have heard people discount what they want, or not have a clue what they want, or negotiate with what they want. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to talk about why we do that and what we can do about it. Okay. So you're going to hear me interchange the word want and desire a lot throughout this podcast. Okay. So let's talk about desire. We are born with desire. We're born with it. It is part of being a human. First is children. Okay, think about children. Children have no shame in asking for what they want, right? And sometimes they demand what they want. They have no shame around it. They have no qualifications of what makes them worthy to have the things that they want. They just want what they want, and they will let you know, okay? And then as children grow, they start to categorize what is good to want, what is bad to want, based on socialization, based on the upbringing they have, right? They learn from their homes, they learn from their communities, they learn from their families, they learn from their religion and society at large, what is acceptable to want. And as children, we internalize these judgments and we learn to follow them. We learn to pay attention to them. So I want you to think about your childhood. Do you have any memories of what you were told is acceptable or unacceptable to want? Do you have any memory of that? I do. I remember as a kid, if I had something that I wanted or something that I wanted to talk about or, air my feelings about, I remember being told that I was ungrateful and that I was not being grateful for the things that I had to want more, okay? And so it made I was very uncomfortable speaking up for what I wanted or what I wanted to be different. So even now at 44, when I want something, I notice my brain going back to when I was a child. Andrea, you being ungrateful, you don't know how good you have it, that kind of thing, right? And I have to talk to myself and remind myself that I am not a child. I'm an adult, and I get to decide what I want. I get to decide what is worthy for myself of wanting. And I'm going to tell you a little bit more about how to do that, okay? Another huge reason why it's hard to want is because our primal brains are programmed to not rock the boat. Our primal brains are programmed to keep safe, play it safe. Don't risk getting kicked out of the tribe. Be reasonable. So when we think about desire and wanting, our brains are really, really quick to shut it down. Our brains are like, oh no, that's risky. Oh no, that's, all kinds of messages of why we shouldn't have it. But the thing is, it's our higher brain or our prefrontal cortex where want and desire live and are nurtured, but often our primal lower brain wins out. So to learn to want, we have to learn to override our primal brain and tune into something more. So today I want to teach you how to do that. Okay. When I first start working with a new client, we do a lot of work around wanting and desire. After all, they had to want it, to schedule a call with me, to talk to me, to be willing to share with me the stuff that is personal to them, and then ultimately to be willing to make the commitment in time and money and energy, all the things, to have a one-on-one spot with me, right? Their higher brain made that decision. Their higher brain said, I want this enough that I'm willing to put myself out there and talk to this person and pay this money and whatever, all the things, right? They want a desired result more than they want the comfort of staying stuck, of staying where they are. If they're just listening to their lower brain will try to convince them all the reasons why they can't move forward, why they can't commit to time, why it's too expensive, why it's on and on and on. Okay, that comes from the lower brain. And our higher brain advocates for the things that will help us to move forward and helps us to find solutions to the problems presented instead of just like, well, can't have that and talking ourselves right out of it. Okay. So another thing that I see a lot in my clients, something I see a lot is that many of them often have no clue what they want. They draw a blank when I ask them questions about the future. For many of them, they have been in survival mode for such a long time that looking anywhere past that feels really difficult and even scary. Because to actually say out loud that they want more than where they are means they may need to do some things that scare them. And who just gets really excited about that? Not many people, right? And so often they have learned to mute their own desire. They have learned to live for other people, putting out fires, helping everybody else, making sure everybody else is comfortable. But often it has come at a cost to their own comfort, right? Sometimes, and this is one that I hear a lot, my clients will tell me, I just want peace. I just want peace. And, after their lives have been quite unpeaceful for a while, I understand it. But you know what? There's something more that they want than just peace. Okay, there's more. I promise you there's more. Peace is a feeling. Okay, peace is a feeling, and our feelings are good to follow. Like, I just want to feel this way. But here's where it gets really interesting, is where we actually take the time to define what that looks like in real living, breathing terms. Okay, so it looks like I want to wake up in the morning and feel calm and feel ready for the day and take time to nurture myself every morning by journaling, by reading, connecting with myself. I want to have beautiful scenery to look at, like really getting specific. Okay. And I promise you, we all have these things in us. We all do. We all have greatness inside us. We all have majesty and really big, amazing, powerful things inside us. But we, like I said, have gotten so used to muting it that we just have forgotten or just muted it on purpose because it's like too painful to look at because our brains have convinced us that we can't have it. Okay. But for my clients, like when they do this work and really just listen, sometimes they want a place to entertain guests. Some want order in their homes. Some want relationships where they feel really fully seen and loved and cherished. Okay. I have my things that I want. If you've listened to past episodes, I want more time at the ocean because I just love it there. I just love it. So how do we identify those things and then step into making them happen? Okay. First of all, I want you to imagine a box. Okay. Inside the box are all the shoulds of what you should want, what you should not want, what a worthy or unworthy desire is, guilt, shame, restrictions, and rules around what you can have. Okay. The thing about wanting and desire is that desire transcends that box. It is outside the box, it lives outside it. It is not bound by rules and restrictions. It comes from our most wise self. And I want to tell you some things about our wise selves. We all, every one of you listening, have deep, deep wells of wisdom to draw on. We just forget that it's there or don't know how to access it. Okay. But I want to offer you a way to think about desire. Okay. I believe that desire and want serve as roadmaps or guides. So I'm going to give you a little bit of an analogy. Okay. I want you to think about going on a trip. You have the final destination marked out. You know where you are going, but you don't quite know just yet why you need to go there. You don't even know why. Like, I'm not quite sure why I'm going there. You don't know what you're going to encounter on the way, but you put faith in the destination and you know you want to go there. Okay. You put faith in it. You trust that there's a reason why it's good for you and the person that you're going to be when you arrive is going to be good and in service of you. Okay. You put faith in that and you feel good when you think about being there, even if it brings up some fear about the journey. Okay. Desire is that destination. When we open up to want and desire, we get to feel ahead of time what it feels like to be there. We get to experience it. And the more we picture and feel it, the more we commit to it. And we start on our journey. And along the way is the growth that needs to happen for us to comfortably hang out at that destination. Okay. So I'm going to tell you something that, as you well know, if you've been listening for a while, I am not one to sugarcoat my own life and things that I'm experiencing. And something that I'm working on right now is I'm really working on creating a home that is more of a partnered home with everyone in the home, okay? With me and my husband, with the children, where there are clearer roles, there are clearer boundaries, consequences, more equality in who does what, more ownership of the spaces in our home, things like that, okay? And so I want that, but it's like, okay, if I can just trust that I want that, and because I want it, it's something that I can have, who do I need to become to make my way to that destination? Who am I becoming in that process? Okay. So when I think about what I want and what it might feel like to be there, I practice being her. I practice hanging out with her. Like, what does she say? What does she not put up with? What does she request? What does she ask for? What are her boundaries? What does she sound like? What does she look like? What does she feel? What's her energy like there? And the clearer I get on why I want that, and that my growth is in trusting that it's a good and worthy desire, even if it rocks the boat, it gives me the courage to become her, even if it is very uncomfortable at times. And just like any good road trip, there's going to be some missed exits, wrong turns. But when we go back to the destination, reminding ourselves where our destination is, like, this is where I'm going. When we remember our why, we get back on track. And sometimes our why is not going to be like really, really defined, but it's like our why can be like, because I just really want it. And I trust that because I want it, it's good for me. I trust it. Okay. Now I want to tell you some rules about want. Okay. This is an important one. So with like kids, okay, I want to be a basketball star. Okay. Let's say we have a kid that's like 5 foot. Okay. Like a short kid that wants to be like in the NBA. Okay. My belief about desire is that we are not going to be given desire that we are not capable of achieving. Okay. And some of the, we hear kids say, oh, I want to be, famous this, I want to be this and that. That is not the kind of desire I'm talking about. Okay. That is kind of like fun to think about. What would it be like? And things like that. But those are, I'm talking about like things that are very deep in our bones. It feels different. Like that's just kind of like a fun thing to think about, right? I'm talking about like our deepest desires of like who we want in our life, who we want to be, what we want our lives to be like, where we want to live, all of those things. And we will not be given those desires if it's something we're not capable of achieving. Okay. Okay. Another rule about want: you can want it just because you want it. Okay. I don't have to have more time at the ocean. I have a beautiful home. I live in a beautiful place. Like, I don't need it, but yet I do. Why? Because I want it, because it matters to me. I trust that what I want matters. And I trust that by leaning into that and leaning to what I want, that it will require growth of me that will be good for me. From this space, I look for solutions. Like I'm problem solving. I'm using my brain instead of minimizing it and talking myself out of it. I'm using my brain to look for ways to make it happen and solutions. Okay. Next rule: just because you identify a want does not mean you have to pursue it. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to pursue it. Sometimes it can be like, okay, this is something that is clear to me that I want, and I'm willing to watch for when the timing is correct. Okay. It doesn't mean that you have to just like abandon everything right now and just like, I have to go do this now. You get to decide. You can say no. Okay. You get to decide. But there is growth and there's delight to be found just in identifying and naming the things that you want. And you always have a choice. You always get to choose. It may be something you want down the road that has never been on your radar before, and now it's suddenly in your line of sight, right? It's like back to the travel analogy, like going to a destination. You're not going to have at the end of your trip a place you've never even heard of, right? It's not going to be there. But if you like start exploring destinations, like, oh my gosh, there's this place that I didn't even know existed, and now that I know it exists, I want to go there. It's kind of like that. It's like, whoa, I didn't know that this was even an option. Okay. Okay. Next rule: if you can't think of what you want because you have been so accustomed to watching out for the needs of others over and over your own wants and needs, okay, or have felt unable to have what you want and have kind of just given up, I want you to ask yourself this question: if I did know what I want, I did know, what would my answer be? Okay, just listen, write it down. If I did know, what would I want? Because the other question is, what do I want? I don't know. No idea. Can't have it anyway. Guess what? Your brain's going to shut that right down. It's going to like not be looking at all for any answers. It'll be like, oh, can't have it. Forget about it. Whereas this other question, if I did know, what would I want? It opens you up to curiosity. Okay. It opens you up to like looking and seeking. Okay. Very different. Okay. The last one here. Desire is a form of self-expression. When we lean into that, when we trust that the person that we will become at the end of our destination is a higher form of who we already are, is it worth it to you? What if this journey of you claiming what you want creates and it opens you up to being your most genuine, true self, sets you free to be more of you, more of yourself? Are you willing? Okay, now let's talk about marriage. Let's talk about infidelity. Okay. I understand that when we open ourselves up to want and desire, it can be very uncomfortable because sometimes that looks like leaving a marriage. Sometimes it looks like committing to a marriage, and that can feel even more scary. because we're like saying, okay, I guess I'm going all in, and it can feel very scary, right? But what if you risking asking yourself what you want, what your deepest desires are, and being willing to get on that road to your destination is what's going to open you up to learning more about yourself, to clearing your path, to accessing your own wisdom. It is in taking the steps forward that more and more clarity comes. It's when we don't move at all that we are not opening ourselves up to wisdom, to understanding, to growth. It is in wanting and desire and taking steps forward that we are opening ourselves up to learning more, to gaining more clarity. And on you'll go until you reach your destination. And your destination will become more and more clear as you take those steps forward. Okay, so to wrap this up, I want to say, you listening, you are worthy of good things. You are worthy of joy. You are worthy of peace. You are worthy of pleasure. You are worthy of anything good that you want. You are worthy of living a life that you love living. You're worthy of having people in your life that you love being around. You're worthy of all of it. And the way to make that happen is by believing that you are and opening yourself up to desire. You were given desire on purpose. It's on purpose. It's intentional. You are given desire to show you what you are capable of and what is available to you. I believe that want and desire is a God-given gift to all of us because we are meant to have good things. You are meant to experience joy, my friends. I hope you have found this episode useful. I hope that it gives you the courage to do some more digging and looking around at what you want and being willing to take a single step forward. All right, my friends, I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to the Heal from Infidelity podcast. If you would like to be kept in the know about upcoming free classes, new podcast episodes, and other ways of working with me, go subscribe to my weekly email. You can subscribe at andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. Again, it's andreagiles.com/lies-about-infidelity/. I will see you next time.